Okay, this is Lizette Bocanegra, and I am here to talk about action potentials. Basically, I put a photo of milk because it represents calcium, bananas for potassium, and salt for sodium. Because all of those are needed for action potential to take place, and the octopus will just represent the action potential. Okay, so let's start off. What is the action potential? The action potential plays the vital role in transmitting impulses. It occurs when a neuron sends information down an axon away from the cell body. It is caused when different ions cross the neuron membrane. It is a short-lasting event, and it occurs in neurons, muscle cells, endocrine cells, and plant cells. Basically, the action potential is an explosion of electrical activity that is created by a depolarizing current, which means a change in membrane voltage. And basically, all action potentials are the same size, and what that means is it's either an all or none event response. And what an all or none response is, it's basically it only takes place because axonal membranes do not allow partial electrical responses to electrical stimuli. So then afterwards, action potentials are generated by special types of voltage-gated ion channels embedded in a cell's plasma membrane. Okay, so that explains the action potential. Now in this photo here, this is where I represent action potential. It's not too great, but I guess it's a better way to summarize things. So here you really need to pay attention. At the resting potential right here, that is where the potential or current is existing and it's ready but not active. Then a little past the threshold, which would be right here, like maybe about right here, that's the influx of a positive sodium that keeps it, driving it more positive until the max number of a positive sodium channel is open. Then, once the channels are open, sodium ions can now enter the cell, and that happens at the depolarization phase. Depolarization allows for this to happen because at depolarization, it is the difference in charge between the inside and outside of the plasma membrane of a muscle or nerve cell due to a change in permeability and migration of sodium ions to the interior. Depolarization either makes the membrane potential more positive or less negative, so that way it could reach the peak, and at the peak, that's where the action potential takes place. And eventually, once it is at its peak, the gated positive sodium channel snaps shut and no more positive sodiums go into the cell, so it all remains neutral and it's balanced. And at the peak, the gates for the positive potassium ions open, which allows positive potassiums to leak across the cell membrane, and that would be known as negative feedback. And eventually, the membrane returns to resting potential, which would be around here. And then afterwards, the concentrations for a positive sodium and positive potassium have been reversed, and there is no more positive sodium inside the cell membrane and no more positive potassium outside the cell membrane, and that usually happens in the undershoot. So then it goes back to the resting potential. And then, therefore, the sodium-potassium pump kicks and restores original concentrations so the cell is hyperpolarized and cannot fire another action potential, which leads to the refractory period. And that takes place in the undershoot as well. And the refractory period takes it back to the resting potential. And that brings the whole cycle all over again with action potential. So basically examples of this would be a row of dominoes. Because there is so much energy in one domino when you knock it down, it brings down the rest. And therefore you need action potential to make it happen. And then it also takes place in a twitch or a muscle contraction. Basically, the muscles twitch when the action potential fires through the neuron and it sends a stimuli so that a particular muscle which causes it to twitch, it goes the same for muscle contractions. So basically, if you really don't understand what I just said, it's probably like all whatever. Just go ahead and comment on it, and I'll try my best to explain it as simply as I can. And here are some jokes about action potential. It could help you too. So basically, what did the Hollywood film director say to the young neuron that wanted to be an actor? Hey kid, you've got potential! And then what did the stimulus do to the neuron after they got married? They carried it over the threshold. Why do action potentials make good volleyball players? They are always spiking. You guys get it, right? Okay. I know this is dumb, but whatever. An action potential takes the train to school. What is the name of the train station where it gets off for school? The Axon Terminal. What is a neuron's favorite television channel? The Ion Channel. And then the last one, what did the inside of the neuron say in its motivational speech to the outside of the neuron? Stay positive. So basically, these jokes are actually help you understand action potential more and like where the neurons are located at and like how they interact and all. And that is the end of the presentation. So don't forget to comment on this. Alright, bye.